Kiki Classic Rock.
He has his own group, The Sky, almost became the lead singer of Asia, was the lead singer in Vinnie Vincent's Invasion, has worked with Kelly Hansen of Foreigner, of course, is known as the original lead singer of Journey, and co-wrote their mega hit, Wheel in the Sky. And guys, he has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, but way beyond those amazing pieces of his history, he has definitely carved out his own place within all of us. Robert Fleischman, so cool to have you on the show again.
Thank you. Sounds like a eulogy.
Not at all. I'm sorry. This is a happy time. And how is that hamburger? I mean, did you shut the stove off? That's the question.
No, I'm actually just put the cheese on right now.
This is a first for me. I'm just saying.
Well, I'm cooking with Kiki.
You were going to do that last time too. Robert.
Well, I promised you I would, and I am now.
All right, good. Perfect. So we're all cooking with Robert right now. Everybody just hope you have your aprons on. Now, Robert, a bib or a bib. Bibs are good too.
Bib.
I hate those things. I'm just saying. They totally ruin a good-looking dress.
Well, that's right.
So you have done so much, but before we move into all of that, so we've been in a world situation up until this point, and the future of live music now, I see musicians getting ready, getting prepared to go back on the road again. But I am also predicting there are going to be some musicians who are too afraid to go back out there. Do you see that, and how do you feel about potentially getting back on the road again?
I don't see myself getting back on the road, but if I were to go back on the road, I wouldn't be afraid. I'm just not, I just don't kowtow to the fear factor, let's say.
Good for you. So you think that live music will eventually get back to where it should be? Well,
I'm being very hopeful it will be.
Yeah.
But it's all so political now, and this whole COVID thing is such a political football. So I really don't know, and I'm just hope the best that it does, and because I have a lot of friends who are not doing too well because they're not making any money,
Yeah.
And it's hard. I can't, for myself, I can't even go and have an art show because, people gather in galleries and that's not happening. So, that's kind of a downside for me. And, but musically, I'm hoping the best for everyone.
We are too, for sure. Now, one thing the last time you and I didn't talk about was your early connection with Asia. Now, you were a contender as the band's lead singer while they were in the process of getting everything together. I'm guessing that was around 1980-ish. And you had a relationship with...
I think around 83, I think. Or
83? Okay. And you had a relationship...
I'm not quite sure.
Yeah. You had a relationship with Carl Palmer and John Kolodner of Geffen. But how did you get pulled into potentially being their lead singer?
Well, I think John Kolodner from Geffen Records was always trying to throw me into some sort of band, and it happened to be one of them. He sent me to England one time to play with Michael Schenker, and I played with him for about a couple of hours, and it was just a nightmare.
Oh.
And I got to play with Cozy Powell, one of the best drummers in the world.
Crazy.
And kind of got chummy with him. And then he sent me to play with one of the guitar players from Fog at one time. I went out to Rhode Island somewhere.
Oh, Little Rhodey.
Not Rhode Island. Where was it? Somewhere back east. I can't remember where. But, I did that. And then he calls me up and says, hey, I got this band Asia, and Carl Palmer's in it. And he told, and Steve Howe. And sent me a cassette, and I listened to the cassette, and it was the whole album. and I'm listening to this for about 3 weeks before I get on the plane to go to England. And I'm listening to it and listening to it. I'm going, this is a really great album. And I love John Wetton, I loved him in King Crimson. I love his bass playing. I think he's a brilliant guy. And then when I got to England, we started playing, and I just felt like I was totally like brown shoes with a tuxedo. I just didn't feel like I fit in at all. At that time, I was just so kind of, I wanted to tell him, hey, can you, change the keys of the songs because they're not in my sweet spot.
Mm-hmm.
And I never said anything. And I felt like, they're going to go like, look at me like, yeah, now we got to learn the whole song over again in another key, and they're going to get pissed off at me. And so I never said anything. And I just kind of struggled through the whole thing because it just wasn't in my register. It was in a lower register.
Do you kick yourself now?
I just didn't feel I got to shine, But but they were really great to me. We had great dinners and stuff like that. And later on, they came to L.A. and I saw them in L.A. and we talked. And I saw Jeffrey Downs about a couple of years ago and talked to him. Hadn't seen him since the time we were in rehearsals. But that was pretty much the extent of it.
Do you kick yourself? Like, why didn't I say something?
I mean, what can you do?
Well, you could have said something, right?
It's just something that happened. But, I later on and down the line, looking back, I wish I would have said, hey, can you play it in this key?
Right, see?
But I didn't. And I told you why I didn't, because I just thought,
yeah. No, I get it.
And plus I was American, and they were all English. And, if I had gotten involved with them, the whole thing with the passports and citizenship stuff and all this stuff would have kind of happened. I mean, it would have been really great, but it didn't happen. And then I think afterwards, I can't remember what I did afterwards. Can't remember my timeline sometimes.
Neither can I. Like, what did I do 3 minutes ago? I have no idea.
I know.
It's crazy. Well, Jeff Harden from Alabama would like to know if you have any demos available from your time with Asia.
With Asia?
Yeah.
No, I didn't go and record anything, nor did I bring in a cassette player or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, another band that I read about that almost was for you is their lead singer. And when I read it, I said, oh my God, are you kidding me? In 1975, Peter Gabriel left Genesis and you were in line to go and sing on their 7th album, A Trick of the Tail. Tell us about that.
Yeah. I was, I was really young. I had a manager at the time, and he knew the manager of Genesis, and they orchestrated this conversation. And I spoke to the manager. I was living in Redondo Beach, California, and he was in London. And we went back and forth, and they were going to set me up with a plane ticket and everything to go down there. And then I got a phone call, and he told me that Phil Collins had decided to try a whack at the vocals. And then that was that. And so, that's history right there.
Oh.
But at that time, I don't think I could have I couldn't fill the shoes of Peter Gabriel. I wasn't that, he's older than I and everything, and just such much more deeper than I at that time in life. I was just like a sophomore, where he's like, super genius in the lab.
But isn't it interesting how you can take a look back now and say, well, it just wasn't meant to be for me at that point?
Well, I never looked at it wasn't meant for me to be. I kind of look at it like, wow, I was, considered, because I'm possibly that good.
Yeah, no, true. And I actually have that. Just the fact that you were considered for these amazing opportunities, absolutely. But, still I get that sense of you don't feel as if you were there, quote unquote, yet.
I never even thought about it.
Yeah.
No, it's just, it's just part of the movie,
Right. It's a pretty good movie because then we get to Journey,
well,
right?
I've been, I've been pretty lucky all my life. I mean, I'm in my mid 60s, and I'm don't have any worries, for anything pretty much, and I live my life the way I want to, and I can go anywhere I want to, and get whatever I want to, pretty much. And all that time, and those things that have happened, it just had no real effect on my life that much. They were just incidences. It wasn't like I had to depend on that to be able to, pay for my operation or my car or whatever,
But that must feel really good to be able to sit there and say, I'm okay. I'm good.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's good. It's it's a God bless. I've been really blessed, and I'm really lucky, and I'm just grateful. And I, sometimes I don't understand why I get the attention that I do, but it happens, and I appreciate it. And everybody's life has some sort of connection with each other in some way or another. And I just happen to have written some songs that connect with people and were put in a good setting. So I've been really lucky.
Well, and I think you've worked really hard for that. It goes, yes, you could say luck on one hand, but you've definitely worked, I'm sure. Again, I don't know all of the...
Everything is not, for me, it's not work, because a lot of it's just kind of just me, it just comes natural. It's just a natural thing. So I don't consider it work. I just consider it just something that comes out of me, and I'm lucky to be able to communicate on that level,
Right. It's not, some people, though, work so hard, they have it flowing out of them, and they feel that they deserve it, whatever that it may be for them. I just think it's great that you've been able to, be so satisfied with what you've done. And, it's funny you say, oh, I get it's funny, I get the attention that I get. Well, you deserve to get the attention because you're part of our history. You're part of our musical, I don't know, what would you call
fabric.
it? There you go. Our musical fabric. You're part of it. So that's why you get the attention. You deserve it, so.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Understand that, understand that you totally, we appreciate you. We appreciate what you've given to us. And on that note, that musical note, we have to talk about Journey. After they decided to move their band from rock fusion into a different direction, they hired you to be their lead singer before Steve Perry. And it's 1977. You go on the road with Journey. You tour with Black Sabbath, Judas Priest. And it was Herbie Herbert who actually, he was Journey's manager at the time. He picked you up. He brought you to the band. And there is a whole misconception, I think, still to this day, of how you left, you were fired, you weren't fired, of why you left the band. Stories say that it was because you and Herbie didn't get along. Tell us, set the record straight. What was the real reason?
I never knew that Herbie disliked me. I did hear a couple of zinger comments at me sometimes, but I think he was just fooling around. But the real situation was that there was a A&R guy, I think his name was Michael Dilbeck, and he was putting money into Steve Perry and paying for his demos and just cultivating him. And he had a couple of demos of Perry that Columbia had paid for. And so in the middle of my situation with Journey, he came in to Herbie Herbert and said, look, if you take Steve, I'll give you more budget for albums. I'll give you more money for radio play. I'll give you better tour support. We'll push we'll push the album, all this stuff. So it was like The Godfather. I'm going to make you an offer you can't refuse. So it was that.
Yeah.
And I know as a businessman, as Herbie was, who could sell ice to Eskimos, he took the business mind. He didn't care about what my situation was with the band, and he didn't care what my relationship or the band's relationship with me was. He just saw the big picture, and he saw an opportunity to get more gas for the car. So that was basically it.
Now, have you spoken to Herbie ever since?
Yeah. Yeah, I've spoken to Herbie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, Herbie's not doing too well, I hear. He's got some health issues.
He's on social media a little bit here and there, so you don't really hear too much from him, but he's such a mysterious guy, I think.
Yeah, well, he's got quite a house on up north, and he's on the cliffs there, and he's got quite a spread, and he's just enjoying his life. You know?
What we all should do.
He sure made a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, that's a good thing, right?
They had the production company too, with all the big screens and all the other things that went along with that. They rented out those screens, like for the tour of the Pope. They actually rented the big jumbo screens and everything that Journey had.
Jeez, how much does the Pope pay for a Journey screen? Like, what is that price tag?
A couple of Hail Marys,
some rosary beads, and some holy water. Maybe a wafer. I don't know.
Maybe.
3 songs you co-wrote with Journey.
Wafers.
You kill me, Robert. 3 songs you co-wrote with Journey: Winds of March, Anytime, and Wheel in the Sky. They all appear on their 1978 album, Infinity. Out of these 3 songs, which one is your favorite, and have you performed any of them when you've been on the road?
No, I didn't perform them.
Really?
Yeah.
How come?
Because I felt that was their songs. When I went out with Perfect Stranger tour, I just did the Perfect Stranger album. I didn't do any Journey songs. Never even thought of it.
So even though you co-wrote them, you've never performed them?
No, I've never. I did a benefit for a cancer. Like a concert.
Mm-hmm.
And I did Wheel in the Sky with some band that hardly knew how to play it, but I've done it that way.
Yeah.
I've done it acoustically at a bookstore opening for my friend who had written a book.
I saw that. It's pretty awesome. It was really cool to hear you sing an acoustic.
So, there's just little things here and there.
Yeah.
But I'm considering an opportunity for where I live. There's a symphony orchestra, and I've been approached by the conductor to do like 3 or 4 songs, like a half an hour set with the orchestra. And I'm thinking about doing a couple of Journey songs and some songs that I've written on my solo albums.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think to do something like that, I would love to just kind of, for not doing anything for so long, instead of going out with playing with a band or something and videotaping it or whatever.
Right.
I just think it was just going to be really kind of a nice setting, nice backdrop to have.
It's so different.
Songs with a symphony. I loved when Journey did the show in L.A. at the Hollywood Bowl, and they did Winds of March with the orchestra.
I saw that as well. Beautiful.
I thought that was just gorgeous, and I just really love that. And I love that song because I wrote that song about my mom.
Oh, so that would be one of your favorites then, I'm guessing, out of the three.
I like All For You.
Yeah, I love that.
I don't really like. I really don't care for Wheel in the Sky too much.
Come on.
I wish I left too early, and I always wanted a bridge in the song. I think the song needed a bridge, and it didn't have a bridge. And to me, a song isn't a song unless it has a bridge.
Wow.
It's just it's just the template that I prefer. But I was disappointed that I left the scene before we could have done the bridge.
Well, if the symphony project works out, maybe you can add one, right?
Yeah, but then people wouldn't be it wouldn't be that familiar to them.
Yeah. I think they would. I don't know. I think they would still love it coming from you no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's something that I'm really considering to do and sort of working out things. And hopefully I'll be able to tell you that it's really happening.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, will that be in your area or is that a traveling thing?
Yeah, that would be in my area where I live. I live in Racine, Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm. So we're all going to have to fly out and get some cheese and see you.
Well, I think I'm asking them to, part of the deal is I want them to record it and video it.
Awesome. Yeah, people would love to see that. Absolutely. Now, we're in 1979. Not right now, but back then. And Perfect Stranger, you released your solo album. It's crazy who you worked with on that album. Jimmy Crespo of Aerosmith, John McVie of Fleetwood Mac, Greg Raleigh, of course, and Neil Schon. They were on the album as well. What is one of your most vivid memories of making that album with all of these great people?
Doing the bass parts with one of the songs. God, I can't remember the song. I think it was called Part of Me. It was a piano type song.
Mm-hmm.
And McVie came to do the bass, and he was just completely sloshed. He was just so drunk.
Come on.
And we're just trying to get through the song, and he's just messing up, and he's just like fumbling around, and it's like, oh God. So we kind of pieced it together and got it. But then at the end, I had Will Lee, the bass player, replace everything.
Oh my God. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's a good story though.
Yeah. I remember I was we recorded in New York, and while I was recording downstairs at the record plant, the Clash were upstairs recording or mixing.
Wow.
And I would go up there and hang out with them, and it was fun.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
And then right between the two floors was a film developing company, and I was going up to see the Clash, and the elevator door is still open, and I'm standing there in this empty elevator, and all of a sudden I see this guy coming with these two canisters, film canisters in each hand, like luggage, walking into the elevator, and it's Woody Allen.
Stop it.
And I look at the canisters, and it says Manhattan.
Oh,
so it was that movie Manhattan he was going to get developed.
Oh my gosh. Did he talk to you?
No, I didn't say anything to him. I just was
Hi, Woody.
Elevator ride.
How you doing, Woody? What you got in those canisters? I mean, something.
Yeah. Had any Chinese food lately?
Oh my Robert. Oh my Lord. Okay, so another collaboration.
Chicken salad around.
Oh my! Are you eating that hamburger? What is in the hamburger?
What's in hamburger?
What's in the hamburger that you're eating?
Just cow. Just a regular hamburger. I used to make turkey burgers. I used to like to make those.
I can't. I just can't. They fall apart in the whatever you make it
No,
in.
you gotta. I used to put like cut up mushrooms and scallions and do it that way.
Well, you're a cooker. I mean, you like to cook.
Yeah, I never let my wife cook. I never used to let her cook. I used to cook all the time.
Real? Oh, that's nice. I wish I had that. Just saying.
Yeah, I was her bitch.
Not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all. We appreciate that. I'm just saying, from my side of the house. Yeah, we like that. So now another person I was not aware was in your solo band was the late Frankie Benally.
Yeah.
Now, how long had it been since you had seen him before he passed?
Maybe a year and a half or two.
Oh, so you had seen him not too long ago.
The band would play at a place in St. Charles in Illinois, outside of Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And every time they played, I drove down there to go see them.
Oh.
And so I would see him that way all the time. And I talked to him on the phone a couple of times.
Yeah.
When he was going through his rough time, and he called me when he found out that Michelle, my wife, passed away, and we talked about it. And I know that he's going through the same thing. And my heart just goes out to him. It goes out to anybody who has to go through that.
Absolutely.
Cancer just ruins so many people's lives, and it's such a business, and
mm-hmm.
It's just. I wish cancer would get cancer and die.
You're right. You're absolutely right. And our heart goes out to you, Robert, as well. Everybody was thinking about you, and we're very, very sorry.
Yeah, life is. It's like when you lose a relative, or you lose, and it's such a different dimension when you lose your wife. It seems.
Can't imagine. Cannot imagine. But
husband,
yeah, we're here for you, and again, it's really nice that you're talking to me, because I know I'm a pain in the ass. But I appreciate it. I appreciate you, telling us about your stories, and we're not done yet, though, if that's okay.
Okay.
Now, when we last spoke, you told me an awesome story about you and Greg Raleigh. Now, Journey's album Evolution was released in '79, around the same time that Perfect Stranger, your solo album, was released, and Neil worked with you on that album. So give us a good Robert and Neil story from '79.
Oh man. The only thing I really remember a lot between he and I is when we were working out the lead for Any Time. And he had a couple of approaches, and I made a suggestion, and I threw a melody at him, and he kind of grasped onto that, and he expanded on that, and it was just kind of this just trying to figure out a way how to make the puzzle fit properly, and
right.
we found the right shape, and it got into onto the tracks, and so I love that part when we were doing that. He was always he's very stand backish in a way, but I think he really liked me a lot. He told me that he was sad that I left, and the whole band was mad at Herbie for a while, and Greg said he didn't want a crooner, he wanted a screamer, and
cool.
That's basically it. We I remember one time we were playing at Soldier Field in Chicago, and we were on the bill with Ted Nugent, Cheap Trick, 38 Special,
Dang,
and Journey, I think. And that was a huge show. That was the first time I ever played in front of 80, 90,000 people.
Oh my!
And and so we walk up on the stage, and there's like this big runway that goes out into the crowd practically, and there is my microphone. And we get up on the stage, and Neil looks at me, and he starts the chord for the very first song, and I'm looking at him, and I'm going like, okay. And so I'm now I got to walk to the microphone, and it seems like I'm walking a million miles, and there's just so many people, and I can't even remember the first word.
Stop it.
And I'm walking closer, and each step I'm just going, oh my God, I don't know what I'm, and I grab the microphone, and it's like automatic writing, or just automatically, it all just turned on, and the lyrics came out, and I started singing, and that was one of the scariest moments.
That's so crazy. I mean, just to go out in front of all those people, that's your first time, like you say, being in front of that amount of people.
And nobody, this was the first time anybody there had seen this new formation, of the band. And so I had to deal with a lot of that stuff too. Like, we'd play certain towns, and there'd be like the Journey guys that were just into the whole rock fusion thing, and they'd be in the front row, and they'd just like flip me off the entire time.
For real?
Just like, oh yeah, just like fuck you, and all this stuff. And
like, why?
I'm just like, singing away, trying to get to it. And,
just here playing music, man.
At the end of the show, they're all clapping, so I believe I won them over.
There you go.
But yeah, I had to deal with that a lot.
That's so weird to me. It really is. Just like when Steve or Jerry, went into Journey and he had the death threats. And to me, listen, we're playing music here. It's a good thing, not a bad thing.
Right. But see, it was no longer a jazz rock fusion band for a lot of noodleheads, Now it was this pop rock format, and they're not wearing that,
Well, guess what? I'm glad they changed. Just saying.
Yeah, I kind of rearranged their furniture.
Good. I'm glad you did.
That was hard to do too.
So tell us about that.
Walk in from nowhere, and you're dealing with, Greg Raleigh, who's been in Santana. Right. These guys are just great musicians, just virtuosos in their own standing. And, here comes this guy from L.A. that never met them before or has any sort of, history with them. And I have to go in there, and I have to just rearrange the furniture. And okay, Ainsley, you can't play drum solos anymore. Now you got to play 4/4.
But see, imagine if you had.
It was like breaking a horse.
So you could have rearranged the furniture in Asia too. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing. I'm just throwing it out there.
I was going to, but I was afraid to ask.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. And now this one piece. Listen, I am a Tiger Beat fanatic.
Oh, Tiger Beat. You know that story, huh?
I do. And I'm so upset with you because you could have been on my wall. You could have been on my bedroom wall. And why would you say no, that you did not want to be a part of Tiger Beat magazine? Why?
I remember being driven from the Arista, limo or whatever, and they drove me to this building, and I go in the elevator, and here I am sitting at Tiger Beat, and I it was almost like going to a doctor's office, and they gave me this piece of paper, like 3 or 4 pieces of paper, and I had to write, "What's your favorite color? What do you like about girls? Stuff like that." And it was like, man, it's like I want to be like talk to like Cream Magazine or anything but Tiger Beat, and so I just got up and walked out.
Oh my God! Like, come on, you have to have regretted that though. A little, a tiny,
a little bit. I wish I had done it. Yeah, a little bit. I wish I had done it. I think Perry did it. That's why he was. Yeah, I think Perry did it.
Of course he did it. Everybody did it.
I just didn't see myself there.
Oh, Robert.
I did not see myself that way.
I read that and I just sighed. I'm like, why would you say no?
I love it.
I literally have vintage Tiger Beat magazines. I read through them. They were the cheesiest things on the planet. But you know what? I saved my 25 cents or whatever to go get that magazine every time it came out.
God bless you.
Right?
True fan.
Crazy.
You're a true fan from the get-go.
No, crazy fan. And you also worked with Kelly Hansen. He was in the 80s group Hurricane. Today we know him as the amazing lead singer of Foreigner. He produced your 2002 album, World in Your Eyes. I mean, another great collaboration of yours. How did you and Kelly get to work together?
By accident.
Really?
I was approached by Frontiers Records to do an album. And he wanted it all to be like just Journey-esque out.
Okay.
And for me, that's not what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And because he's got such a fascination, what's his name? Serafino, the guy that owns Frontier Records.
Yeah.
Which I don't really get along with.
Oh, okay.
It's really crazy. This guy finds bands, digs in like an archaeologist, goes and finds old dinosaur bands, and then calls them up and goes, "Hey, I'm going to give you $20,000 to go record an album," and then that guy calls up his buddies and they go, "Hey, we're going to, I got a situation here where we're going to get $20,000 to make a record." Well, you can't make a record with $20,000.
No.
And so then everybody in the band is asking people for favors and everything like that so that they can get a lower rate or whatever. And this guy just, stirs up the anthill, and they get all crazy about it. And then they jump into doing the project, and they're feeling like, oh, they're really going to make it. And then the next thing they know, they got the recording studio manager asking for their money. And then they're calling up Italy, which is,
right,
a couple of time zones away, and they can't seem to get a hold of this guy. And it's just this whole thing starts happening. And, the people at the studio where you're working at is like looking at you kind of weird. And, you're feeling uncomfortable because your bill's not paid. And, and you're put in this position. And now this guy isn't doing what he's, lubricating the gears, and it's just a mess, So I was working with this guy who was sort of the liaison between me and Serafino, was Frontier Records, and he was talking to Serafino, and they're both Journey nuts. And so, everything they wanted me to do, they wanted it to sound like, Journey. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't into that. And so they took my recordings and gave them to Kelly Hansen. And then Kelly Hansen did all these things to it. So that's basically what happened. And so I basically walked away from the record and told them just to, shove it and do whatever you want to do with it. I don't care.
Just say how you feel.
Pardon?
Just say how you feel.
Oh, I'm feeling fine.
No, when you said just shove it, I'm like, just tell them how you feel. Just Put it out
Pardon?
there. When you said you told him to shove it, like I'm saying, just say how you feel, just let it out there.
Yeah,
And,
I just walked away.
yeah.
And I kind of liked, I didn't care for Kelly for a long time. And then I kind of just let it all go and saw that he got into the Foreigner thing. And I thought that he did a great job.
Yeah.
He's doing a great job with him.
He really does. He really, really does.
From a little house in the valley to wherever he's living now,
Yeah, good for him. Good for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now
I feel the same way with like Mark Slaughter too. I used to, see those videos once in a while with him singing to with my voice coming out of his mouth, and I was like, little idiot and all that stuff. And then I think, here's this guy gets an opportunity.
Yeah.
And he took it. Can you ride a horse? Yeah, I can ride a horse. And he got on the horse and he rode it,
Well, that's the thing,
And I heard an interview with him, and I listened to the whole interview, and I thought after the interview, God, this guy's a really nice kid. He works hard. He plays guitar. He's still, he's still out there performing.
Yep.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, he is.
He's got good energy, and I've met him, quite a few times, at least 3 or 4 times, and he's very, very nice.
And I'm sure, of course, we all read the stories. It was crazy. You're seeing Mark lip syncing to your voice in the video on MTV. It's just crazy. But there comes a point you got to say, you know what, I'm going to let that go now. And like you said, he's a nice guy. He was being told what to do. It was early in his career. Here you go, do this.
Exactly.
And
I mean, here was an opportunity for the dream,
right.
For him. You can't deny him that.
Exactly. Now, you worked with Vinnie again in '96 on his EP Euphoria. Then your reunion with him at the Kiss Expo in Atlanta in 2018. I mean, just watching that, it was so emotional. You got up with Vinnie on the stage to sing Back on the Streets. And honestly, and I'm not kidding you, I was emotional watching you get emotional because you kept getting emotional. And
well, I know it was like seeing somebody like a dead cousin who was pronounced dead, and all of a sudden you're sitting next to him,
Yeah, because what was really running through your mind? Like, where were all of those real, true emotions coming from at that point?
I felt so bad for him.
Yeah.
Before I went up there, he was there for I guess, half an hour or so, just going down the river of woe. I mean, he was telling all these sad stories about his life, and it would just seem like it just got darker and darker and darker, and then he picks up his guitar and he starts playing, and it just, the mood was just getting so thick.
Yeah.
And I was standing at the back of the hall, and he started fumbling around playing Back on the Streets. And so he started it, and I thought, I'm going to walk up there and get a closer look. So I get there close to the stage, and then all the people that were involved with Vinnie were on the side of the stage, and they're like waving me to come here. So I go over there, and they're all telling me, you got to go up on stage. You got to go up on stage. And I'm going, no, I'm not going on stage. Just let him have his day. This is his day. And so his guitar tech and somebody else, they grab me by the elbows, literally, and just walk me to the stage.
Oh, really? Because you don't see that. You don't see that.
Yeah, you don't see that. And so now I'm on the stage, and people are like, looking at what's going on, and he couldn't see me, and I sat next to him, and he looked at me like he was just
Bob.
So surprised.
He's like, Bob.
And he was, and so was I. It was like Lazarus, like rising from the dead, and there he is, sitting there.
Jeez. It's just so crazy. And then after that happened with him and you on the stage, there was talk about a Vinnie Vincent Invasion reunion, new music. Obviously, that didn't happen, but were there talks of it after the expo ended?
Well, there were talks about it, but it was all talk from his management side, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
He and I, like I said, if it's a good situation, let's just try it out. And but the situation never came about because, unfortunately, the same kind of scenario is always around Vinny, which is he always has really bad management and people around him who are really trying to further themselves in some degree. And he's kind of like the trophy, the hood ornament.
Yeah.
And I've told Vinny many times, I thought that you're never going to be happy until you have your hands on the steering wheel of life, unless you have your hands on it, because he always gives the steering wheel of life to somebody else, and then they wreck the car.
Yeah.
And then he looks bad, and he gets pissed off, and it's just this one tumbling, recycling, scenario. It's like Groundhog Day.
Yeah. It's too bad, really. I mean... Yeah,
it is. So when everybody wants me to jump on the ship, and you don't understand, that ship has the Titanic written on it.
Right. Now, I mean, would you jump on that ship again? Just say, oh, no, Robert, it's going to be good. It's going to be good.
No, but I mean, look, it's like, can you still fit in your clothes when you were 15?
All right, that's not a good question for me.
Well, it's the same thing, It's like, I don't see myself up there singing those songs,
Yeah. No, I hear you.
And if I were going to do an album with him, it would have to be completely geared to me.
Yeah. And I mean, it's been such
he comes to me with, these songs in whatever key it is, and I just kind of like the performing seal. I just go ahead and I do it. But I never really think about, hey, why don't we do it, drop this key down or raise the key or whatever, I never asked to like tailor it to me. That's why when I do my solo records and stuff like that, I can tailor the music to my voice and everything. So, it's just, that would be the ideal situation.
You got to rearrange the furniture, Robert. Rearrange the furniture.
He has a hard time letting it go of material.
Yeah.
So I spoke to him not too long ago. And,
oh, you did?
Yeah. And so I said, well, if you're interested, just send me some songs. I said, send me 3 of your best songs.
Mm-hmm.
And then I get a text going, oh, I can't send out my songs. They're not published and and I'm afraid, they'll get out. I'm going like, well, who am I going to give them to?
Right.
And another thing is I had mixes of sessions that we had done together. I had final mixes on a DAT, small tape, digital tape, and I've had it for years.
Do you still have it?
For years and years, and I never thought of it like, oh, I'm going to go and print up a bunch of CDs and I'm going to bootleg this sucker,
right,
throw it on YouTube or do whatever, So when I saw him in Atlanta, I gave him that little cassette.
Did you really?
That, here, I've had this forever, and I know that you'd really love this.
But nothing's happened with it.
And then you come to me and tell me that I'm afraid to send you 3 songs. Give me a break.
Yeah. Well, it's probably not him talking, really. Right.
Well, I don't know, but there's a lot of idiosyncrasies,
Yeah.
And he's gearing up for some show that he's doing somewhere.
Right, in Nashville. It's been moved to 2021 at this point.
Right, and so he's got that on his plate. But I don't. Who knows if it's going to happen or not? And I hope it does.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him get a nice string of positives.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think you've got the people that definitely love negativity. They love it. They just love gossip and negativity. But I think on our end of the house, we love to see positive things happen to people that, it's why we don't need the negativity. We all need positivity to just be able to move forward.
And, it's like anybody, sometimes you just need a break.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and he does. He really does. Now, I'd like to say before we, we're going to wrap it up in a couple of minutes here, but I'd like to say a special thank you to the Journey Junkies. We got Chris, we got Karen, we got Kurt. You can follow them all on Facebook at the Journey Junkies. And again, it's about positivity and it's about Journey anyway. Graham Brandt, he's one of the admins there. He's from Albuquerque. He loves all of your art, but especially he loves your work from 2018. And he wants to know why most of your paintings seem to have no title. Is that intentional?
Yeah. Yeah, they just don't have a title. It's like I go to galleries sometimes, and I there's an artist there, and he's like, "Oh, this one's called Chrome Monkey or something like that." And at the time, I was really feeling the jungle in me and the wildness, and I kind of put it on my brush and I put it on the canvas, and I always hear all this like hallooey, and it's just like I just don't. That's why I don't do it.
But what do you think? I watched a video of you throwing paint on a canvas. Well, you weren't. I shouldn't say throwing. I apologize for saying that. You were brushing it on, and you're running around the canvas. And I'm like, what is he thinking when he's putting those strokes down in different places on that canvas? Because it's kind of like writing a song too. Throw it.
Yeah. It's like jazz. It's improvising. I love I love to throw my body into it, like swing my arms into it and kind of go with this flow that's kind of flowing throughout me, just this kind of rhythm to it and visual domino kind of effect.
Right.
So I never know what I'm going to paint when I go in the studio, every other day. I think about a couple of colors and I pick a size painting. Usually I paint on about 5 foot by 4 foot canvases, majority of them. And I just go to town on them and I never know what I'm going to do when I walk in.
Yeah.
And so I put down the first brush stroke. And then I think of another color, and then I look at them, and I just think, what's the next color that's going to be able to complement it? So it's just this whole domino process. It's like creating your own jigsaw puzzle, and then you have the outcome.
Kind of like life.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, you once said, be ready to reinvent yourself over and over. Keep your roots, but taste everything around you. Don't be wimpy. I loved it, right? How are you reinventing yourself, and what are you getting ready to taste? And I know you're not wimpy, but I'm guessing that means go ahead and step outside of your comfort zone. So what are you doing?
To reinvent myself?
Yes.
I get the courage to jump. And as they're free falling, you kind of grab things that are going to make it comfortable when you land.
Yeah, like a nice.
It's like for me, like going back into painting was kind of like reinventing myself again. Me possibly doing this project with a symphony orchestra, that's kind of reinventing myself again.
Yeah.
Me having an interest in certain genres of movies or art or furniture or fashion, or that's constantly reinventing yourself somehow. I mean, you buy furniture to put in your house. makes you feel a certain way. That's kind of you're getting a feeling from that, and you're reinventing your environment. You're controlling your environment instead of your environment controlling you.
You're rearranging the furniture.
The outcome is to get your environment to where you love it so much that it controls you, so that you are happy,
right?
And you have an energy.
Yeah. Where is the star from the Hollywood Walk of Fame? Where do you have that?
I think it's by the Music Institute there. It's right pretty much across the street from Grauman's Chinese Theater, I think.
Oh, so you don't get to keep a plaque or something? You don't get to?
Yeah, I have. We all got plaques. We all have our little plaques that we have on our walls.
Do you sleep with it?
I just moved into a place, a new home, and
congratulations.
No, thanks. And it's the first time I ever put up my gold records or anything.
Oh, well, that's great.
Yeah, so I have a wall down a hallway, and I got my stuff there.
Nice.
And I've never had it up there, but the reason I never had it up was because if you ever had your house repaired and you have a guy come through and he sees your gold records, the bill is twice as much. So whenever we had anybody to come to do any repairs to the house or whatever, it's like, hide their gold records.
Oh, I always hide my gold records. I never leave them out, because why would I do that? Good point, though, Robert. I totally get it. Now, you guys can follow Robert on Instagram at robertfleischman.art.music and go find him on Facebook at robert.fleischman3. He's great. He's always answering people and talking to everybody, so it's really cool. And Robert, you're awesome. I love when you post.
I hope it wasn't too boring or off the wall too much for you.
Off the wall? Come on. Not at all. Well, not at all. I love that. I wish you would be crazier. I want you to rearrange the furniture all the time. I mean, I love when you post videos of you singing, because your voice is still popping, Robert. It really is.
Thank you.
And
for an old geezer, I try.
No, it's great. Please keep doing those, because everybody does really enjoy them. We were going to try and meet up this year.
I'd love to do and I've been really contemplating about doing a record.
I think you should.
Because I've written about, I got about 19 songs that are pretty good.
Perfect.
And I've been contemplating about doing it, but it's just the climate for selling stuff and all is just so dismal.
Here's the thing.
People don't buy albums anymore. And
no, they don't. Well, you know what? Honestly, they do. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say they don't, because I follow that. I mean, vinyl sales are up every single year, and they've been up every year.
I know.
Since the past 14 years.
I know. I buy them for my daughter.
Do you see what I mean? Definitely, they're still purchasing records. And, if artists didn't find it advantageous, why would they still be releasing new music? I mean, I think it's just something.
It's because it's something that you do.
Right. And that's why you just do it. You just go ahead and you release the music if it makes you happy, and it's something you have in your back pocket. Why leave it there? Let us hear it.
Yeah, I'm really thinking hard on it. So possibly I could speak to you sometime in the near future and talk about that.
Well, we're here. We're here to play it for you, and I would love to, help you with that. But I hope we get to meet in 2021. I really do. We were supposed to meet this year. That didn't happen.
I hope so too.
Well, Robert, again, thank you so much. Thank you for allowing me to annoy you. I appreciate it.
You're such a great annoyer.
And
you are the grand annoyer.
Oh, gee, thank you so much. That's really not a good tag to have, but
grand dame
annoyance.
La femme grand
and that's all right. I call you Roberto Fleischman, so it's.
Oh, that's okay.
It all works.
Roberto Piedmont.
We love having you on the show. Thank you so much. Everybody go follow Robert. He'll love it. And I really hope that new music happens and you know where to find me. And I know where to find you.
Alrighty. I know where to find you. You tell Al to take care of himself.
I will. Thank you so much, Robert.
Okay. Love you. Be good. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.